Hello everyone, and welcome to the Digimon Dreamers video. This time I'm going to be going over the final chapter of Digimon Dreamers that'll be in Saikyo Jump. More on that in a bit. And that is chapter 21 of Digimon Dreamers. So that's from the July 2023 volume of Saikyo Jump. So yes, they've decided, them being Bandai, I guess, to no longer continue Digimon Dreamers in Saikyo Jump, but to actually move it online to Digimon Web, which is where Digimon Seekers, the currently running web novel, is being published. So in terms of being released, it'll be free online. I won't have to buy Saikyo Jump anymore. In addition to this, the Digimon Dreamers actually will be translated into Chinese, Korean, and English, in addition to, of course, Japanese itself. Now, judging by the preview that we have so far, it's a very patchy machine translation, but again, it's still better than me reading to you and translating this to you, even though you might have to stretch your imagination because it'll be machine translated. Unless, of course, that was just the preview that was badly machine translated, and when they actually come to release it, they might improve it. They might actually have a real person to translate it, or at least to fix it up in some way. But as of now, it's just a kind of patchy machine translation. And the next chapter after this one, so chapter 22, will be in autumn, which in Japan is my spring. So that is 3 months-ish away. So they're going to be catching up with this on Digimon Web. So in terms of my coverage of Digimon Dreamers from here, I won't be probably translating it like this because it'll be available in English, but I will of course still be covering it on YouTube and discussing my thoughts on each chapter. I just won't be translating it, or at the very least I'll be fixing translations, I guess, from the potentially patchy machine translation that for some reason they've decided to go with. But again, it's free. This is currently costing me, like you can see, the 640 yen, and then I have to pay for it to be imported into Australia. So it's no longer going to be costing money for me, which is good. But it just means it'll be free for everyone. So that's exciting, but also is a bit of a concern in terms of them going with a potentially patchy machine translation. So in any case, let's begin with chapter 21, and we're reaching our overflowing potential. So interestingly, we have Bulkmon behind Pulsemon and Mistymon behind Wizardmon, looking pretty cool there. So Ritsu's like, Pal is completely surrounded and engulfed by electricity. And Pulsemon's pretty proud of himself. He's like, this feels incredible. Ritsu points out that it's because of his hard skin and that he's able to be covered by electricity without it hurting him, and then says that he is like an electric eel. And Pulsemon's kind of like, what are you saying? No. So now we're going to fight, and Pulsemon evolves just his head into Bulkmon, and then Flesmon laughs at this. Is like, what? Your head is big, as basically is everything. And then Pulsemon says that he's going to wake up Wizardmon, and he does so with his attack, and we have him electrocuting Wizardmon. As you do. Wizardmon is electrocuted. He thanks Pulsemon. He's like, Pal, thank you. I like his adorable eyes, but I don't think anybody's ever been thankful or showing any gratitude for being electrocuted before. So now we have them talking about how he's full of electricity now and full of this magical enhancement. And then Flesmon's like, you're just your head became Bulkmon. And then Pulsemon falls over. Phalesmon is not amused. Like, that's kind of a funny face, and that's something I do appreciate from Digimon Dreamers, is that we just get some funny facial expressions. Bulkmon/Pulsemon explains that it's because of the curse on his village, and kind of uses his mouth to run over to him and demands him to lift the curse or to tell him about the curse. And he's like, "Go away with your giant head." And now he says, well, now his head's returned. You can see it's all fuzzied back to normal. He says, release Witch and Lee and stop trying to hold all the knowledge of this world. And Phalesmon's like, I'm not overly concerned with the knowledge of Witch and Lee. Wizamon's like, what? And then Phalesmon says that his true goal is actually fusing the worlds of the human world and the digital world, which that's kind of sad, because that's, well, in terms of a Digimon standpoint, because I feel like that is kind of like that's been done before in terms of a Digimon's motivation to be fusing the digital world with the human world. So that's kind of a shame that it's not just he wants all the knowledge. Even though it is simple if it's just one motivation, at least in that case it was original. This one's just like, he's just your generic baddie who wants to fuse the digital world with the human world. Ritsu questions that that's not possible because the human world is made out of biological matter, while the digital world is data and is made up of zeros and ones. It's made out of binary. So it's not going to be possible to fuse the worlds because one's made out of data and the other's made out of biological atoms and particles. And here's something else that I'm not too thrilled about. So when I read this through earlier, I was like, that feels like kind of a bit of a stretch. And that is that, first of all, Phalesmon says that he doesn't know, like Ritsu doesn't know anything, and says, hey, do you know what the particles and atoms are made out of? And he's like, yep, they're tiny particles, they're tiny grains, just about. And Phalesmon's like, what if they're actually strings, not grains? And then, this is the part that I feel like is a bit of a stretch. He says that you have, a straight string, and then you can join together the straight string, and what do they look like? And then Ritsu imagines this, and then he realizes, oh, if you fold together the strings, it becomes a 0 and a 1. This feels like such a weird jump of logic here. So now we have Phalesmon saying that if he converts the atoms and particles to strings and makes them curly and folds one in on itself, he can actually rewrite the data in binary. This feels like such a stretch. I get where they're coming from, but it feels like a little bit too much of a stretch. Just like, this is how I will convert them. I'll just fold the particles, which are now strings, into ones and zeros. It's such a stretch. And then Pulsemon essentially says, the hell you are. And then attacks. And then everyone's kind of feeling helpless, and Phalesmon's kind of mocking them, like, what do you even need knowledge for? What do you need the school for? And Ritsu's like, well, I don't actually go, I don't even really like school. I don't enjoy school. And Pulsemon's kind of like, well, it's not that you need to hate or like school. And Phalesmon's like, well, at least you're honest. And he's like, it's the freedom to study. It's the choice to study. You should be able to do that. And that's why I hate you, Phalesmon. And Phalesmon does not care. He's like, how are you going to defeat me anyway? Like, that's all well and good, but how do you plan on defeating me from here? And now Tailmon pipes up and says that, we can't really defeat him with that black armor. And now we're just kind of rehashing what we said last issue, which was you get this black armor from the fused and upgraded Demon's Shout, and how there's not really much of a chance. And then Tailmon says that with the Wizamon says that with the bolt break, then Tailmon's like, no, with Wizamon. And then Tailmon's kind of going to give us some exposition, saying how certain Digimon, specific Digimon, are able to bring out energy and power from their Digicore within themselves to do this, but it's very dangerous and they shouldn't do it, and it'll absolutely not work and they shouldn't do it. And Pulsemon's like, why are you worried? You said the exact same thing when you enhanced my magic before. And Tailmon's like, this is completely different. It's decided I won't do this. And now we have Phalesmon, who is, again, kind of mocking them, saying it's impossible. They've got no chance even when they're all united together. And Wizamon's like, I will fight you. And Tailmon is saying, no, stop, Wizamon. And Wizamon says that he has to protect this world. Ritsu then stops him, tells him to wait. He's thought of something. And Ritsu has thought of something and is doing that face. And it says here that it'll continue with Chapter 22 on Digimon Web. Digimon Web, it'll continue on Digimon Web. So that's it for the final Saikyo jump. Again, I'm kind of surprised that it's continuing on. I thought it would have ended and then us have a Volume 2. It might still only have a few chapters left. I could only still have a few to go and then complete with Volume 2 of the manga. That'd be kind of funny if they didn't even finish it in Saikyo Jump and then he had like 1 or 2 months to go. But anyway, it could go on forever. It could just be an indefinite, like, forever manga. But in any case, that's it for this chapter of Digimon Dreamers. Let me know what your thoughts were in the comment section below. I would really like to hear because I think it was a little bit silly. So let me know all your thoughts and more in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. And I guess we'll see how we cover it next time. Bye!